I've been in two minds whether to post this and talk about the time where I was in my rich girl era and I was only interested in men with lots of money. This was just about 10 years ago, or maybe slightly less, and I had come out of a relationship with somebody I'd struggled financially with, and I wanted to live the life. I wanted to be looked after. It was all around me. I worked in Mayfair, so obviously clients had lots of wealth. It was all over social media. Social media was booming, and you had the kind of Instagram lifestyle before we knew it was fake. I wanted that life. I wanted to live that life, and I had no intentions of spending time to work towards it. I just wanted a rich man to look after me, and this is the honest truth. So when a rich man came along and wanted to date me, and when I say rich, I mean, I don't really like that word because it can mean so much. It can have positive connotations and it can also be very negative. I'm using it in terms of high net worth, very, very wealthy. So this man is pursuing me. It's very clear he is attracted to me. Let us also add that this man at the time was much older. I had never gone out with. He was probably around my dad's age. I found him charismatic and attractive, so that helped. But the truth is that the money was the attraction, the main attraction. He owned a yacht. He had a fancy house in Chelsea. He had a chauffeur waiting for him all the time. So of course, when he asked me out, I couldn't say yes quick enough. So we started to date. He was quite clearly very driven by one thing, but the chauffeur and the fancy restaurant and that lifestyle really turned my head, and I overlooked that. He asked little to nothing about me or my life or anything to do with my thoughts, and I always had to fit into his schedule. So I dived straight in. I was crazy about him. I thought I loved him, and actually I didn't love him at all. I loved the prospect of the lifestyle because I was being drip fed. I didn't actually get the full lifestyle. I was just taken to the nice dinners. I wasn't really included in his world or his life. And the other thing was he wasn't always available. So it was always on his terms. I began to fixate and pine on him. I was literally going crazy, and that made me even more available whenever he wanted to see me. So fast forward to a birthday of mine. We had been dating at this point for about 6 months, and he bought me the most incredible Chanel handbag. I'd never been gifted anything so valuable. This bag was thousands of pounds, and it was my pride and joy. Then he offered to take me to a private members club and asked me to invite all of my girlfriends, which he would host and pay for. This members club was the members club of the moment. It still is pretty chic. I'm not saying which one it is. And then after we partied there a little bit, we went back to his amazing house, and we all sort of having a few drinks and partying there. And he then proceeded to hit on my girlfriends and ask me to leave. He asked me, he got me a taxi. A few of them had left and there was a couple of girlfriends left, and he said, "You get a cab." Oh my God. To which I had to leave because obviously he was insisting that I leave, and then my girlfriends left immediately after. They're my besties. I still love them dearly. It was all really odd and very, very weird. When I arrived back home, he phoned me. We ended up being on the phone until the very early hours of the morning. However, it left a terrible taste in my mouth, and I gave him a piece of my mind, and I never saw him again after that. Because as much as I love money, I also have self-respect, a degree of self-respect at that point anyway. There's so much more to this story, but I'm not even going to go there. Anyway, long and short is, after him, I was introduced to another very wealthy guy, and I was with this guy for a few months. And again, it was very, very similar. It was all on his terms. It was, not very much interest in my lifestyle. And I just wanted normality. I wanted to be loved, and I wanted to love back, and I wanted to share interests, and I wanted a relaxed night in front of the TV and to kind of talk about current affairs or who's been doing what. I wanted these normal things. But guess what? The problem was I wasn't there yet. I was the one making the mistakes. It wasn't the men's fault, because there are plenty of women out there to kind of engage in relationships like this quite confidently and relaxed and quite openly and be happy with it. But I wanted more. I wanted more. So that rich girl era didn't last very long. I think I lasted about, I don't know, 4 years, 3, 4 years, you know, champagne and all of that. Although champagne's not just for the rich, you know what I mean. Look, I'm talking nonsense. But I do have something to add to the first very wealthy chap. He had been dating a woman. I think she was living with him before me. I knew of her because I'd met her at a Christmas party that he had hosted, and I remember her clearly. I don't forget people very often. She was quite dynamic and bright, and she was very pretty, very petite and small and very pretty. I went on to date him, and then she was out of the picture at that point. About a year or so later, so this was after he and I we were over. By the way, I actually am kind of rather fond of him, and I'd still send the odd message to see and check in with him and see how he is. But this woman found me, and she came to me as an anonymous client for a facial, a full 1 hour stuck in a room with a woman pretending to be a client, asking me cryptic questions about where I might eat out and who I'd been dating. Oh God, it was so weird. It was a very long and painful 1 hour. I was very, very polite and very professional, and I didn't really reveal any kind of details. And when she left, I did message him and say, look, please, I can't be having this at work. You know, anyway, she'd obviously kind of felt some kind of way about their split. Who knows? But I believe that everybody in life has a choice, and I think that it's important, really, really important, to understand that there will always be people behaving a certain kind of way and you know, kind of being a certain kind of person, but can't always put blame on them. You have to take blame, and you have to take responsibility and understand that you have a choice whether you want to engage in that or not. There is always a choice. I learned that the hard way as well. My choice today is to be single and be happy and at peace and comfortable with myself. And if a life partner comes my way and it's somebody that I feel that I align with and they align with me, then that's a possibility. But thanks to all of you lot, I've learned the words decenter and gosh, so many words, but decentering men is the main term, and I have completely decentered them and centralized myself. I am main character energy. I got main character energy. There's a lady on here that does those videos, and I really like her as well. I follow her, Star Monroe. She's super empowering, and I'm all about women empowering women. So this is me trying to empower you and not chase the dollars and the bucks and the money and the pounds, because it's not enough. It is just not enough. Because guess what? That Chanel handbag hasn't come out of the box for years. I haven't used it, and I'm happy.